People were sending me videos to react to. One of them was Pierre Bourne. Like, we discussed it on stream a few days ago. Like, Pierre basically is blackballed himself by like beefing with all the people who like put him on, you know, like Trippie Redd trying to say like, yo, you gotta give me 80K a beat for just to give your artist K Suave a beat. I feel like when you have relationships with people, you kind of gotta, you don't have to, but like it's good to help your friends out so that they'll help you out in return later on when you need it. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Who else? Cardi. Like, I feel like Cardi and Pierre are not close anymore. He's moved on to Filthy, and who else? I'm trying to figure out. Filthy's really like the main producer right now, although that last leak was Cardo Got Wangs for Killers, which was a banger. Who else? Lil Yachty said that Pierre's weird. I don't know. Let's just see.
Ever since Playboi Carti's breakout hits Magnolia and Woke Up Like This, Pierre Bourne has been one of the most coveted producers.
Oh, he said Ken Carson was trash and wouldn't work with him as well. And I feel like, so Pierre came up with Cardi. Why would you tell one of your good friend and like the person who put you on, the reason you're famous, why would you tell his artist that is obviously going to tell your friend that he's trash and you don't want to work with them? Like, that's just, you're shooting yourself in the foot at that point.
In rap, producing multiple Billboard hits and for the largest artists like Drake, Kanye, and Travis Scott. But what a lot of casual fans don't know is he's a vocal artist as well, with 3 million monthly listeners of his own. However, he still hasn't managed to blow up and hit the mainstream. Well, what if I told you?
Because I feel like his latest music is just not as good as the T-Lop series.
It's partly because of how many people he's had beef with the likes of Juice WRLD, Lil Yachty, 6ix9ine, and more. I'm Rashad Fashir, and this is the story of how Pierre Bourne blackballed himself. In 2017, Pierre Bourne had a huge year. He produced Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine's breakout song, Polls 1469, that got them their first bit of attention, and then, as we all know, he produced Magnolia and Woke Up Like This, Playboi Carti's breakout hits, putting him on the map.
Pierre is better at making singles. Nah, I feel like Pierre's good at like transitioning the entire albums. Like I used to listen to T-Lop 4, T-Lop 4 Deluxe, and T-Lop 5 just on repeat, like just going through the sequences. I feel like that's where his talent is. I don't know. It's just sad to see, man, because he hasn't really produced too many big songs lately. He hasn't really made many big songs since T-Lop 5. Like, he needs to step it up. Like, I don't know. Maybe he made enough money where he doesn't care anymore, you know?
So 2017 was no short of amazing for Pierre. He'd have massive success as a producer, and many were saying he had the potential to become the next Metro Boomin. However, it wouldn't take long for him to get into his first beef, which started with him standing up for himself as a producer. And it was with the infamous 6ix9ine. In October of 2017, 6ix9ine dropped Gummo on Worldstar's YouTube channel, and the video quickly began raking in millions of views, as viewers started wondering who this crazy rapper posted with 100 Bloods.
Even with that, why did he... Like, I guess because 6ix9ine, he didn't like 6ix9ine, especially during the beef with Trippie Redd. Why would he clear a beat for free? Because 6ix9ine, I think, dropped it before clearing the beat with Pierre, since Trippie gave it to 6ix9ine, since Trippie was supposed to sign 6ix9ine himself. Eventually, he just got a finder's fee because 6ix9ine signed to 10K Projects, which was Trippie Redd's label. But like, I don't know, why would you want to stop that hit from going up? I think eventually he got like 90% of the beat or something, or 90% of the song, the royalties.
And the number 69 tatted all over him was. And the song, well, it was produced by Pierre, except the beat was never cleared by Pierre, and according to him, the beat was stolen. The beat originally came from a beat pack Pierre had sent to Trippie Redd. Trippie decided to use 2 of them, and without letting Pierre know, passed the 3rd one to 6ix9ine. At the time, 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd were formerly on the same label and were very close, except they eventually fell out and everybody took Trippie's side, including Pierre. And one day, to his surprise, Gummo, 6ix9ine's breakout hit, was put out for free on YouTube and SoundCloud. After seeing how successful the song was, 6ix9ine's label immediately began trying to clear the beat. The executives were telling him,
because they were like, it's gonna be a big record, it's gonna be life-changing for you. Like, it's more situations out of this.
Pierre said he didn't care how much they were gonna pay him, he was not clearing the song for release, and explained he wanted no part in it.
I never wanted to have anything to do with that song just because of how they went about releasing it. It was very disrespectful. Very like, you, basically.
Explaining he didn't have any part in the recording process.
I wasn't involved in none of that. I don't even know where they recorded it.
Right.
I don't like stuff like that.
The label was shocked, but a miscommunication due to him being out of the country led to the song being okayed by accident.
So many no's to where it was a miscommunication that a no turned into a yes.
He was in Australia,
I was in Australia, bro. I never said yes.
but somehow they miscommunicated or faked that they thought he said okay and put it out on all platforms without Pierre's permission. So one day, randomly, he saw it released on his phone.
But this was on my phone. I see Gum on Apple Music. I was like,
Pierre was furious. He had actually recorded his own vocals over the beat, and before
I'm trying to figure out again why Pierre Bourne wouldn't want the bag. Like, fuck that. If it was already getting millions of views and it was like, how, let's check something. How many views does Gummo have? Gummo 438 million. He's getting, because they dropped the song and before like really clearing what the percentage splits would be, he's getting so much, like probably a majority of that song. So $438 million. I'm trying to figure out how much that would be just off YouTube, and this doesn't even count Spotify or Apple Music or any other streaming platform. So 0.00, let's say 3. So that's already $1.3 million just off that song on YouTube. Now multiply that by 2 or 3 for Apple Music and Spotify. Like, why would you not want $1 million, bro? Doesn't make sense.
Before 6ix9ine dropped the song, Pierre was planning on dropping his own version of the song himself. However, when 6ix9ine dropped Gummo, it ruined everything for him. Pierre would come out against the song, calling 6ix9ine an op, and said him and Trippie would no longer be working due to the song being out, which he posted to both his Twitter and Instagram. Eventually, all this beef led to legal action, where in 2018, Pierre filed a lawsuit and was given 75% of the song after it was settled.
That's what it was, 75%. So he probably made at least $1 million just off that song.
Outside of court, plus a fat check. So in January of 2018, Pierre tweeted, "I got 75% of Gummo." 6ix9ine clapped back, threatening Pierre, but that was that. In the end, Pierre took a huge financial W, but it wasn't great for his career as a solo artist. And this was the first sign.
Yes, it was. Not only did it get the notoriety from the song and the tag at the beginning, "Hey, yo, Pierre, welcome out here," but also he got the money. So like you kind of shielded yourself by saying, I don't condone this song, but still it released and I got the money from it too. So everyone, that's like G shit. That's top G shit.
And Pierre's ego. Except back then you could argue he was just standing up for himself and not see it as being stubborn and unrealistic. The next beef Pierre would get into was with Tory Lanez, and it was due to Tory.
I have an ad blocker, but YouTube blocks ad blockers now. Yeah.
Wanting to remix Playboi Carti's Magnolia, which Pierre had produced, of course. Someone sent Pierre a text asking if Tory Lanez could use the Magnolia instrumental for a remix and asked Pierre to send it to Tory. Pierre said, hell no. Carti even came out and said himself, "We don't do that remix stuff. Don't remix my music. Stop asking my guy Pierre for beats." Carti's.
I think that wasn't even up to Pierre really. That was just up to Carti. And so Pierre probably, after getting asked by Tory Lanez management or whoever reached out on his side, he asked Carti, and then Carti said nah. So then Pierre was like, nah, we can't do that.
The reaction was in response to Tory Lanez getting someone else to reproduce the beat for him to rap over. And I'm not gonna lie, after hearing the remix, Pierre made the right choice. And the worst part about it is how bad the remix is and the beat. But there was never
the remix wasn't bad. That's just some hater shit.
any bad blood from this either. It was honestly much more embarrassing for Tory. However, the next beef Pierre got into would truly start to foreshadow what was to come. The next rapper Pierre Bourne decided to beef with was the late Juice WRLD, when he was a rookie, fresh off his breakout hits, like All Girls Are the Same. A lot of people don't know about this, and Pierre Bourne even produced one of Juice's biggest singles posthumously,
Bad Boy,
featuring Young Thug, which even had a Lyrical Lemonade video. At first, there didn't really seem to be any bad blood between the two. issue, as Juice was known for how positive of a person he was. Until one day when Bourne made a post on Instagram claiming Juice WRLD allegedly stole Bourne's album cover concept, stating, "Y'all."
Oh, interesting. So that's why. But didn't T-Lot 4, didn't that actually have a purple cover? So was that like the original one before he dropped it?
"Y'all gonna take my album cover too?" alongside various vomit emojis. He also shared his own PS1 themed cover of The Life of Pierre 4, showcasing the extremely original piece of artwork he had come up with. To be honest, it's just a PlayStation 1 theme and the art itself is completely different. Juice WRLD's Death Race for Love just had cars in it as well, and actually had more creativity. Ironically, Pierre wouldn't even be allowed to drop the PlayStation cover due to copyright, so fans were confused and quickly found out Pierre had ulterior motives. It turned out Pierre was jealous of Juice WRLD. Bourne and Juice were both signed to the same label, Interscope, and at the time, Pierre was calling out a certain executive for pushing his album back, Aaron Sherrod, aka Digital Dash, who was working very closely with Juice WRLD. Furthermore,
I got a Digital Dash.
WRLD previewed a song with the same beat Pierre had previewed months before. Back then, Pierre was really mad at Interscope, who had shelved him, meaning they weren't allowing him to drop music since the label thought he wouldn't sell well. And giving a young up-and-comer kid to Pierre, Juice WRLD, free reigns to drop whenever, really pissed Pierre off. When Pierre...
I mean, it all comes down to like who's hot and who's not. I think before T-Lot 4, which really surprised people, like that's when he really started to get some recognition. There was no reason for the label to actually let him drop with a big budget, whereas Juice WRLD dropped All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams. They're like, yo, drop whatever you want because we know it's gonna do millions and millions of streams.
Bourne was finally able to drop The Life of Pierre 4 in 2020. It sold 8,000 units. Juice WRLD sold 165,000, 20 times the amount.
See, exactly.
The year prior on the album where he quote-unquote stole the cover art. So yeah, the label did make the right decision, and it was just embarrassing for Pierre. The next rapper Pierre had problems with was Lil Yachty. At one point, these two were really close, and if you look them up on YouTube, they have tons of songs together. However, around 2021, things got tense between the two. It began when the rollout for Pierre's The Life of Pierre 4 began and Lil Yachty's Lil Boat 3 dropped. In an interview, Yachty was asked if there was going to be any more music between Yachty and Pierre.
Yeah, Bourne is weird, bro. I don't want to talk about Pierre. For real. Yeah, man. Me and Pierre used to be...
And because Yachty and Cardi are cool, I feel like... And yeah, I feel like maybe Cardi and Pierre aren't going to be working as much anymore too. Genuinely. Like maybe there's going to be one more beat that they do together, but otherwise I don't know if Cardi really wants to fuck with Pierre. He does have a crazy ego from at least just the what we've seen on social media. Like I don't know him personally, but he does act kind of immature about working with other people. Like if you don't respect another artist, like just don't be calling them trash and you don't want to work with them. Like if you're a producer, why not give anyone access to your beats and only clear the ones that like I don't know. Like if the streams are up, like why do you give a fuck who is dropping it, you know?
Real tight. I don't know what's up, man. I don't know, bro. I don't even want to talk about it because, bro, I don't really know what state of our relationship is.
So Yachty tried to stay respectful, but he still called Pierre out. This was really weird, and to fans, all of a sudden, the relationship had done a 180. At one point, they even had a collab tape in the works in the beginning of 2020.
The fans want Cardi and Pierre, but their sounds are kind of opposite. Yeah, I feel like Cardi's kind of gone more dark, whereas before he was like very bouncy, kind of angelic in a way, like spacey, right? Nowadays, like even that Killer song, like it has synths in it, but it's more futuresque, like more like demon-y, devil-y. So I'm sure Pierre's capable of making that, but the two sounds just don't mesh as much anymore. Like they're not meeting in the middle, making the same type of music.
Bo and Pierre. Yeah! Hold on. A whole tape. I said a whole tape. I think they're ready. All right, we're gonna give you that to y'all too.
But after that, they went radio silent about it and never came out. And when Yachty dropped Lil Boat 3, Pierre only made it onto one track. And the reason fans speculated why Pierre didn't want to do the tape was,
why the f am I doing the tape with Lil Yachty? Like, what would he actually get out of that? Yachty is the coldest he's ever been in his career right now. So what benefit would Pierre get from doing a tape with Yachty?
which is true. Yachty hadn't had a hit or have an album sell well during that time period. Eventually, they reconciled.
But I feel like Pierre wasn't hitting Yachty numbers either. I'm pretty sure the worst that Yachty's ever sold is Michigan Boy Boat at like, 11 or 15K. And Pierre, I think his top album, T-Lot 5, only did 15K. So I don't know why Pierre would not do a collab tape with Yachty.
But Pierre and Yachty have never worked since. And Yachty, well, his dry spell ended and he's only gotten bigger. So Pierre ended up burning a really big bridge, which is a shame because their sounds fit really well together. But Pierre's beef wasn't just limited to mainstream artists either. It was all inclusive. He didn't discriminate and he would beef with a lot of underground rappers as well, some that would later surpass him. The first was Lancey Foe when he was a small rapper, and it was due to a song Lancey had sampled, Bourne by Playboi Carti in his largest song at the time, India. And no one even knew Pierre had a problem with it until at one of Pierre's shows, he randomly got on the stage and screamed,
We talk to this, you cut it off. Y'all playing that's stealing my beats. Stop doing it. Not on that. I don't give a fuck who it was. Not on that. They stealing T-Lot 5 songs, dropping the shit, playing the shit before I come on stage. Crazy.
At the time, Lancey was a small niche
It's
artist
hard to even hear him with the auto-tune.
who probably wanted to work with Pierre. Honestly, it was completely unnecessary. As a producer, if anyone, Pierre should understand how sampling works, and since the beat was put on all streaming platforms, it meant it was cleared. So the issue was just Pierre's ego. Most people didn't even know Lancey sampled the song, and the song was so much smaller compared to Carti's song. So once again, Pierre's ego got the best of him. Lancey and Carti would eventually become quite close, furthering the rift between Carti and Pierre. And in today's scene, Lancey is a much bigger and more relevant artist than Pierre. Pierre wasn't just beefing with other artists.
I don't know if that's true, bruh. From those sales that we just looked at from 566 copies in the UK. Now, it's not US, but Pierre Bourne's at least like pushing 8 to 15 on T-Lot 4 and T-Lot 5. Like, I don't know. I think Pierre's more poppin'. He's just a bigger name in general. Maybe not though, I could be wrong.
Have beef with his own artists that he'd signed to his own label. Pierre's own artists, Chavo and Shark, began dissing Pierre in 2022 and 2023, claiming they weren't getting any help from him, and Chavo called out Pierre for refusing to take him on tour, his own artist, despite landing his own large song himself, Michigan.
Damn.
He also said he was looking for producers, implying he'd no longer work with Pierre. Since Pierre is so acclaimed as a producer in rap, he has some really big connections, one of them being the man himself, Drake. Except their collaborative relationship stretches further than just songs being produced. Drake and Pierre have 2 songs together, where Drake sent him features. The craziest part is, fans like myself didn't even know until Drake commented, "My biggest regret was not finishing the last 2 bars on Drunken Nasty." Basically, Drake is on Pierre's popular song Drunken Nasty, but because the last 2 bars weren't complete, Pierre said no thanks to the Drake feature and decided to drop the song with him only. In a crazy turn of events, the song went viral on TikTok and became his most popular song ever. Some fans even asked Pierre to put Drake on the remix, as Drake has skyrocketed.
So he didn't even need the Drake feature, but I wonder how big the song would have gotten, because I think like it went viral on TikTok, but how big it would have gotten with Drake. Like it would have hit a whole new level, honestly. Yeah, for sure. And I think Shark was on that song and it was cool, but like it was very, I don't know, like very outside the box, let's say, unorthodox type flow and type voice. But if you had Drake on it, I feel like it would turn into like a 1738 type situation. Maybe not that same level, but like, you know what Drake can do.
Did a number of artists' careers over the years, saying it could have been Pierre's breakout moment. Furthermore, Drake has a verse on Pierre's other.
Pierre should have just waited. Like, oh, those last 2 bars, just, yeah, like I'll push back that whole entire album 3 months just for Drake to finish it. I for sure would. That's a career-changing moment.
Huge song, Poof, which is actually really good. Go check it out. So instead of trying to put them out, he just moved on.
We had him on Poof. We had that man on Drunk and Nasty. You'll never hear it. But shout out to OVO, man. Drake just dropped.
And he was laughing like he didn't fumble 2 huge hits. And by this point, fans began to realize Pierre was just wired different because he had so many genuine connections that he just let evaporate. The next person Pierre would have beef with was Trippie Redd. And this one was kind of sad because
I think Pierre's the kind of guy where he doesn't care about the numbers. He cares about like the actual quality of the music. That's why he's fine with calling and potentially justified in calling Ken Carson like trash, or not that I think Ken's trash, but like musically, like just from an objective view, you know, the whole harsh auto-tune thing, like Pierre's probably like, that technically does not sound good if we were to bring in some musicologists. And that's why, I don't know, he's charging $80K for Trippie's artists, or doesn't want to work with Yachty because maybe he doesn't think he's as talented. Although Yachty, I feel like, has come out as one of the more talented ones who can do other genres. But that's where I think Pierre's ego comes from. It's not from, because he's probably one of the more talented producers, obviously, because he's one of the more successful ones. But like actually knowing how to play instruments and all that, that's where it comes from.
Because Pierre and Trippie go way back. In fact, Trippie was the one who originally gave Pierre his first entry into the music industry as a producer, back when Pierre was broke, engineering sessions in Atlanta.
Pierre Bourne is one of my favorite producers. When I had started music and I had moved out here to Atlanta, and my engineer was Pierre.
However, in 2021, Pierre decided to charge Trippie Redd $80,000 for a beat that wasn't even Trippie Redd's song. It was a song he was featured on. Trippie thought they were friends and was hurt, and made a response saying Pierre forgot where he came from.
Always forget where they came from. I remember when was just engineering in the studio, living out the studio.
And that ultimately, Trippie was the one who gave Pierre his shot to be in the industry.
Hoping gave him a shot. It's crazy because I so happened to be the that gave the shot. Forget where they come from. Want to charge their homies $80,000 for beats now. Like, y'all is corny.
At first, Pierre said cap, claiming Trippie was lying, and it was actually a good week for Pierre. His album sales went up by 800%. Trippie, still mad, took to Instagram.
I made somebody's sales go up 800%.
They went up 800% because Teal Out 4 Deluxe had just dropped. I don't think it had to do with Trippie Redd.
Just from speaking, without even saying their name, you know, that's a blessing to even know I got power like that. I'm proud of him.
Pierre Bourne took to Instagram to respond and tweeted, "Ain't nobody make my sales go up 799%, but God." When Pierre posted his response, Trippie left a genuinely sad comment saying,
because deluxe projects go up. I mean, they count for the original project's sales. You get it?
Number one, honestly, you know what's up. I remember us in the studio coming up with the whole video game sound you got from my childhood playlist. You can look it up. It's on the 1400 800 YouTube, he said. Bro, this is nothing new. I've always helped you. Remember that you just let me down as a brother. Pierre even decided to take the beef further and diss Trippie in his song Practice, where he says, lying about 80 racks, you going broke. They eventually made up and came back on good terms, but the relationship was severely damaged and they haven't worked since. The second to last rapper Pierre Bourne had beef with was Ken Carson, another underground rapper, or at least one at the time. And like many of the people Pierre had problems with, it came to light randomly. At this point, Pierre was huge, and for the newer generation, one of the OGs. So in 2021, fans were shocked when Ken Carson was asked if he wanted to be on a Pierre beat on Twitter, and he replied nope. It turns out Pierre had egoed him. Ken said Pierre had told Ken Carson he wasn't on the same level as him, and ever since that day, he's been going up, saying, no beef, I just wouldn't be comfortable working with someone who said that about me. A very fair and incredibly mature response on Ken Carson's end, and very disappointing from Pierre.
See, that's a terrible move. Not only, again, did he charge somebody even if he didn't charge 80K, but if you're charging anything for one of the people who helped put you on, Trippie Redd, and this is even before Cardi started working with him. Cardi started working with Pierre because of Trippie. But But not only did you start charging them, which you should not, because they helped, your whole career is there because of them, or at least this route, because, you know, someone else could have put on Pierre Bourne in a different dimension. But now you're also dissing the artist underneath the guy who actually made you famous with your producer tag. You were a dumbass. He's such a dumbass, bro.
Once again, another artist that got dissed by Pierre Bourne and then went on to surpass them. In this case, Ken got much bigger than Pierre Bourne. And it's a shame because Ken Carson's early production took a lot of inspiration from Pierre on songs like Yale, and they could have made some great music together, but Pierre's ego had to get in the way of it. The final rapper Pierre had beef with was the man who arguably made Pierre the mainstream producer he became, Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti and Pierre are one of modern rap's most accomplished and notable producer-rapper duos. They blew up together, worked extensively once they were both up, but all of a sudden when Whole Lotta Red dropped, Carti's most recent album, Pierre had only produced 2 songs, and they were old. Prior to Whole Lotta Red, Pierre had produced both of Playboi Carti's breakout hits, Magnolia and Woke Up Like This, as well as 6 songs off his debut album, self-titled. 15 out of 19 songs on his sophomore album, Die Lit, and multiple iconic leaks. Fans first noticed tensions between them when one of the songs on Whole Lotta Red, Punk Monk, Carti said, "I thought I had Pierre, but the label tricked me." One of the
I don't know if that's like a diss at Pierre though. That's kind of like Interscope, because Carti wanted to sign Pierre, but then Interscope was giving him a bigger bag or something like that. I don't know. And Pierre also wanted to start his own label, which he did, called Sauce House. So why would he do it underneath Opium when, like, why get so many hands in the middle?
Standout lyrics from the album, which was Carti saying he thought Pierre wasn't signed and was disappointed when he found out he couldn't sign him. But it wasn't just Carti who was annoyed with Pierre. Pierre wasn't happy either. When Pierre dropped his album, Carti dropped his music video for Sky on the same day.
Yeah, I remember that. He dropped the Sky music video when I think Pierre dropped one of the singles, or it was the album for whatever it was called.
Pierre got mad and tweeted, "He doesn't want to see me glow, the shit written." Carti and Pierre have a lot of overlapping fans, so Pierre thinking Carti posted the music video to overshadow him might be justified, but it was still a stretch. Furthermore, like I said earlier, Pierre and Ken Carson, Carti's artist, aren't on good terms, making things even more.
I don't know if that's a stretch, because I feel like, when did Pierre drop it was like April or something, maybe even later in 2021. And Carti dropped a Whole Lotta Red in December, the year prior, in 2020. So like, why all of a sudden did Carti need to drop the Sky music video? He could have waited one more week. It didn't make sense.
More tense between the two. And
yeah, it was For You. That's what it was. It was a single.
By the time 2022 rolled around, they weren't seen with each other, and it became pretty clear they weren't on great terms. In 2022, during a disagreement Carti had with A$AP Rocky, Pierre Bourne tweeted out, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you," referring to one of Carti's close friends. That same close friend, Opium Baby, took to Twitter and said, "Screw Pierre, I had to beg Carti to let you in the studio," explaining Carti didn't even want to work with Pierre anymore. Carti and Pierre falling out or just not seeing eye to eye was a full circle moment, bringing us to today, where Pierre Bourne doesn't really have any relationships left and isn't hot neither as a producer nor as an artist. So I don't think anybody at this point can say Pierre Bourne doesn't deserve to be where he's at today. It was over the course of many years, but slowly he burnt every bridge and relationship he managed to create. I made this video because often fans of Pierre come to his defense, like I used to, and blame the label or casual listeners for not giving him a chance, when in reality, it's really all Pierre's fault, which is a shame. And it's kind of hard to understand until you see the full picture, like in this video. But anyways,
damn, Pierre done did it to himself. It's unfortunate. I don't even know if he's really blackballed, because I feel like if he just like said sorry to everyone and like sent his beats, because his name and his producer tag and his beat style is iconic, so all he'd have to do is really, like, again, just apologize and be the bigger man, and that it would do numbers, because everybody always wants to hear a Pierre Bourne type beat. But maybe it is about like relationships and nobody wants to work with him or like help him out, since he tried to fuck them over earlier on in life, like Ken or Trippy, or like if someone tried to, if one of my hometown boys tried to charge me $80K for a beat, I'd be like, what the fuck? Not that I'm a rapper, but you get the point. So yeah, Pierre's probably, he hit a peak at T-Lot 5, I want to say, especially with the Drunken Nasty, and then ever since then he's been doing collabs with like much different type people than, you know, the newer generation of rappers like Yachty or Trippy or Cardi. He did it with like Juicy J and like TM88, who was a producer on XO Tour Life for Uzi, but still, like, I don't know, just the tier of collabs he's been doing is much different than where he was at a couple years prior. So maybe that makes sense that he is blackballed, and he's only working with people that he thinks are of the utmost quality. Even though Juicy J, like, I would not say is one of the best rappers, he's still making hella money. No one's saying that he isn't. I think we're more so talking about his relevance, but I agree, like, he doesn't have to do anything because he already has a ton of he has royalties in some of the biggest songs out here. He's got Drake songs, he's got Uzi songs, he's got Cardi songs, he's got Yachty songs, he's got Trippy songs. Like, he doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his life. He can just chill back, live in a mansion, all that.